again. How do you like your electronics? Extra crispy? Oh, I gotta wait for this to refresh and see if they're in frame. I bumped the camera since last use, so let me try and fix that. Looks like there's about 20-ish second. Delay yet again. So I can see almost up to my vise. Let's see. Do that. Do that. And actually, I'm going to go like that. Sorry. I keep lots of magnets up by my camera. And when I get close to the camera, everything sort of goes sideways. Okay, that's pretty good. So this smoking mess was a solar inverter. Copper's missing, so he's dead and gone. But that is not the topic for today. Although finishing dismantling that and recycling what I can should be. Got some really neat pulse chokes. I mean, how often can you literally count the windings on a choke this size? So let me go grab my boxes. So I was browsing around the web the other day and looking at stencil printers because I've always wanted something slightly better than just sort of taping the stencil down to your bench, flipping it up, and doing that number. Because just the variation in the edge cuts on the boards can shove things around as you're stenciling. And with the finer pitch parts, it just always makes a mess and kind of pain in the butt. So, down in the description doobly-doo, you'll find a link to a project someone did where they basically 3D printed a lot of the parts needed to make a stencil printer, and then just used, you know, your basic sort of 3D printer parts, so 8mm rods and linear bearings. I think this is 20mm, 80/20 or Bosch frame, depending which brand name you like to use for it. Aluminum extrusion is the trade name. Some angle extrusion, your rods, some bearings, lots and lots and lots of screws, and then basically a box of 3D printed parts. So not the bad news, but the unfortunate news is he released all the printed parts, but he never released a bill of materials, so I sort of had to take screenshots and pictures off of his website and sort of scale things. You know, I knew this was 20mm, so I used that to sort of figure out scale and figure out a bunch of these dimensions. And then from the pictures, sort of, you know, count up. Okay, here's how many screws he used here. Here's how many springs, whatnot. Some of you are going, well, what? Just buy one off of AliExpress or eBay. The ones off of AliExpress and eBay are about $300 plus shipping, and there are cheaper ones, but the cheaper ones are so cheap that they're not much better than just taping it to a bench and flipping it. I want the fine adjustments that this should give me, or will give me by the time I'm done. Total part cost that I have into it right now, if you bought everything new, I think you're at that $300 mark. You save the well, no, you don't save the shipping because you pay shipping to these guys to get the parts, but so it's about a wash. My cost is quite a bit less because I had a bunch of the screws, nuts, and bolts in the massive collection already, so I just had to buy the stuff. Mainly it was just the ones where you needed like 50 of them. So, and frame nuts. I don't have a good selection of those, it turns out. unpack all of this. So we got extrusion, we got angle extrusion, we got linear rods of various lengths, linear bearings, frame nuts, more frame nuts, more frame nuts, frame nuts, frame nuts, frame nuts, and apparently they ran out of bags and frame nuts. More frame nuts. Springs. I actually probably one of the most expensive items I had to get for this was the springs. So these guys, they only McMaster only sold them in 1-packs, and it was like $4 or $5 a spring. Oh, more frame nuts. So not the most economical way to get springs, but I didn't have a better way, so that's the way I went. We got springs, screws, more screws, even more screws, screws, hinges. Are these 608s? No, they're smaller than that. They are 605 RS bearings. You'll figure out, it'll make more sense where they go later. More screws, and long bolts, and more screws. So I don't think I will get to most of this tonight. It's sort of going to be ongoing, so I don't think I'll need the springs right away. I won't need the long bolts right away. Definitely won't need the hinges or these guys. Linear bearings and rods I probably will get to. We'll see. Button head M4x8. This is also button head M4x8. M4x8, yep. I will need those. M4x8, M4x8. Something else. Shorties. And 3x8s. And frame nuts. I'll definitely need the frame nuts. So let me set this somewhere. Okay. Too many projects. And I need a trash can. Still going. Yep. Oh, these are flange button head, I guess you call them. Instead of just the round button, there's a little bit of a flange on them. Not what I was expecting, but that'll work. Okay, so I need the bottom frame. So this is going to be a bit of an adventure. There's no bill of materials, so I'd guess at that. There's no assembly instructions, so I'm guessing at that. So I foresee some assembly, disassembly cycles, trying to figure out exactly what the right order to put this whole thing together is. I did put out a spreadsheet. I didn't link it, but if someone really wants it, message me. I have a Google spreadsheet with my best guess at what the bill of materials is right now. It's basically what I use to order all this stuff. It's not going to be exact because I haven't put it together yet. As I go through this and figure out what I should or should not have ordered, I'll go in there and update it to the correct parts. To at least get a duplicate of mine up and running if I get it up and running. And if I don't get it up and running. Well, you know what not to get. So 3 for that, 3 for the top frame. So, frame sort of goes like so. So you lose a bit on either side for the movement and front to back. So, you know, still a pretty decent size stencil you can do. And then I got some chunks of aluminum I'm going to have to cut up to mount in here for that. Let's see. Where do I want to start? Hop over to the picture. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to start with attaching this side and leave this side open so I can slide in the rods at a later point. So now it's time to start cooking through here. So on the bottom, 4 corner brackets. On the top, you get one of those, and where's my other one? 2 of those. This front corner is unique on top, as it gets this bracket instead of one of those brackets. Why they didn't continue it on and get that other hole, I don't really know. This is the adjustment for X, Y. Yeah, Y. Ooh, I need to pay attention to that. So the frame nuts I got are not drop-ins. So I can't put them in after the fact. They got to slide in from the sides. They do make little drop-in ones. Nothing wrong with them. I just, in my mind, these are more secure, so that's what I wanted to use. That works for now. These are metric 2.5mm wrench. Ooh. Metric 2mm wrench. Those will be prime for stripping out. Hey, I don't know what that goes to. I'll figure it out later. So, start in the back corner. Back of any good reason? So in theory, let's see which side looks nicer. That side looks nicer. I'll put it out. And the moment of truth, did I get the proper length fasteners? Yes, yes I did. They're definitely not too short. The next question are they too long? So if they're too short, you can't get them into the groove, and if they're too long, when you tighten down, the screw will hit the bottom of the groove, and then everything will be loose and not hold. So I'm just gonna preload. Bunch of screws on here like this. Oh, I got feet. So there's even 3D printed little standoff feet. So I'm wondering, do I put them, so if this goes on like this and I bolt these straight to the frame, they're going to be somewhere out here and not fit. So I think I need to put them under that corner screw, which means I need to swap it for a different style of screw so it fits in the foot head. Foot head? Sure. So let me grab some M4x8s cap screws. And if I'm lucky, yep, they fit in there. And then this should fit in there. And then there's just a question is, overall, is it long enough? So this is going to be that corner. Go like that. Slide the first one in. Slide the second one in. And then the last one, which, oh, I may need to go up to 10s on the corners. These are the right, I said they're the right nut. Okay. So with the additional thickness, I wonder, instead of screwing the nut all the way on, I'm just going to thread it on a couple turns and slide this all in. Now, too short, so I need to go from an 8 to a 10 here. I probably should get a notepad and write that down. Let me do that quick. Corner feet -4 M4x8 button +4 M4x10 cap. I don't think I have those. Oh, excuse me. I don't think I have those in here. Ugh. Let's see. M6, M3, M4 up to 13 millimeter. So M4x10s. Got them in steel. Yeah, I'll go stainless. I got them in steel. I'll do that. If you buy these bolts at Ace Hardware, they're 65 cents each. Just happen to have it written on the packet. If you buy them from McMister or some other supplier, you're going to have to buy them in quantities of 50 or 100, but it'll be like $6 for 100. $6-7. So 6-7 cents each versus 65 cents each. Some people might be like, oh yeah, Ace is a ripoff. Well, yes and no. They're packing them individually for you, maintaining that stock and everything else, and that costs quite a bit of money. So, and they probably have a lot of loss because bozos go in there, find the screw they need, stuff it in their pocket, and walk out the door. So, I'm a little salty because all my Ace Hardwares that had decent screw supplies have gone under. You know, probably not, that wasn't the reason, but that probably didn't help them any either. So, there we go, got a longer screw. This goes like this goes like that. These T-nuts seem a little small for this frame. Yeah, I must have gotten the wrong captive nuts. Oh, that kind of sucks. Let's see if there's some way I can sort of cheat. Well, I can get them to grab. So maybe maybe it's not too bad. Man, that kind of really sucks. I must have bought for 15mm channel instead of write that down. Wrong T-nuts. Or wrong frame nuts. I mean, they'll be usable for this, but it just kind of blows that they're slightly off. Yep, I'm not going to rebuy them, so they are what they are. Good news is they sort of work. They're just not as ideal. Is that the right term? Positive. They're not as positive when you're trying to tighten things up. So now as I go, I'm just going to do my best to square things up vaguely. Oh, got some rust on there. Interesting. Okay, I think that's vaguely square. That is vaguely flush. Everything a little tight in here. Just start going until the plastic squeaks a little. Seems relatively stiff. These little corners go there. Ooh, I might have posed myself a little bit. So this one has to go in that way, but this one wants to slide in that way, so I need some pliers. Let's see if I can fish a nut in from the side and get that put in. Oh. Really? Okay. I am not winning at the moment. Note for future self. Put that corner in first. together. Let's try and get this front corner lined up right. Pretty good gap. So that's the problem, is they just want to spin until they start to tighten up, and then they're fine. So they're one piece together. That's decently rigid for just a bunch of printed plastic pieces. Okay, next corner. This corner does not have an elbow bracket on it, so I don't have to worry about that as much. Putting that in first. So I'm just going over to my vise, putting the screw in and using this to push it all the way down. Throwing brackets on the floor. The brackets. Goes that way. Nut. 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 Oh, nut. Okay, now the top piece. Throw a nut on there. Nut on there. And a nut on there. Maybe. Maybe? One of these two is not threaded right. I'm gonna guess the nut. Yep, nut issue. So this goes like that. I'm gonna pick this as the top. All the way in and flush from the corner. I'm going to go relatively tight. There is a lot of slop on the bolts, so I'm not too worried about getting these too tight and not being able to square up the frame. Definitely bigger T-nuts next time. Okay, so let's get this nice and flush on the front, nice and flush on the side. Give these a quick tighten. This there's the easy one. Should be the easy one. And then I gotta do both the top one and the back side one at the same time. try and get the front squared up with the side. Third or fourth hand would be might useful right now. Relatively close. And I can actually use a bar on this end to get my spacing set a little bit better. That is assuming I got that corner square. You can tell I only printed these out in 15% infill. The screws like to sink right down in and get comfy. I'm just loosening this up to get the bracket a little bit more square. That looks good. So if I was someone else printing out these parts, I'd go higher than 15% infill on these corner brackets. I don't need to go up to 30, but at least, maybe 30. At least 20, 25. Just to keep the... Or put more perimeters on it with the same amount of infill. Because these screws are sinking in real bad. I don't think I have to worry about cracking the part. I might pull the screws through. But these flanged head screws should help quite a bit with that. Okay, so that's done. There's a bit of wobble, but not too bad. So before I can put this side on, I need to get all my rail mounts in. So the reason I just went, oh no, is there's two different styles and I didn't keep them separated. Those look to all be that style. So these, the holes are centered, where these ones, the holes are sort of a drop. And when I mean a drop, the two mounting holes are above or below the main hole. And they're full of printer remnants. I'll have to clean all that out. First I gotta figure out which set I need. For that, I might have to go fire up the STL. I don't think I can tell from the pictures. Maybe I can. Looks like the top ones are centered and the bottom ones are dropped. Yeah, let's take a look. Very interesting. So they show, now I always assume this went this way, but it shows it this way. I wonder if there's a plate underneath there I don't see. Well, the reason for my confusion is that he obviously made the part to bolt onto something else. Oh yes, he most definitely has them bolted to a plate. Oh, I wonder if that plate goes all the way across. So, what I'm mumbling about is these parts have a flat bottom and bolt holes. So they're meant to bolt to something. I assumed the cross rods was all that kept this stuff square. But it looks like these bolt down to a plate, which I wasn't planning for. And then the cross rods bolt on top of that assembly. And then these pieces clip bolt to the next plate up and slide on these pieces. So right now I'm just digging through my box of parts trying to find the right ones. That's a top. Oh, so this hooks to that like that. So I think this one does go over there. So that number. Can I not print it? Oh. He's going back. I need to put those on before I get too far. There's the other one. That's that corner, that's the front corner, these are parts for later. This goes up here. Two for the front, side, two for the back. Two. Am I being dense? Or did I miss printing a piece? So this is the one that goes up in this corner. I may not have printed one of the standoffs. Ooh. So when I printed the parts, I think I might have assumed. I have to go look at my bill of materials. I might have to go print some more parts before I can go any farther. Which would call this for an end for today. I'm either being very blind and it's sitting right in front of my face, which is possible, or I didn't print enough of the parts I need. That goes with that. That goes with this corner. These go up on top. These are the next layer up. 1, 2, 3. 4, yep. These go elsewhere. These are this is one of the top caps. There's another top cap. These are the backer pieces. This goes with the gear. This goes with the gear. These are corners. These are adjusters. That spring clamp, another spring clamp. It's totally looking like I just didn't print them. Well, bummer. So basically I need one more of these. So I'll have to go find the G code, load the printer, load the filament, and go to town. So let's see if there's anything else I'm missing. So I got 3 centered and 3 dropped. So I can check that while I'm printing out the other parts. Otherwise my plan was to put a rod together, put a set of bearings together, and then just see which way it fits. These having a base on them also is going to slow things down. So I'm going to have to figure out what the spacing is and cut that little piece of metal to put those all together. So I have some chunks of aluminum that I'm planning to use for this. I just planned 2 sheets, not 3 sheets. Bummer. Let's crack open some sexy bearings. There's one. See how these fit. Quickly. So I'm just using heat to take all the little stringies off the bore of the part. These are a pretty loose fit in here. I'm kind of surprised. It'd be nice if they're a slightly tighter fit. I don't think they're going to come out. But worst case, I'll slide them out, put a drop of super glue on them, and then slide them back in again. So I got 3 different lengths of rods, and I do believe the longest rods should be the ones for this layer. Let's see if I can get one out. There we go. So this should fit right there. So the theory is, I think it's the drop one. Once I push those on, they are not coming off. So that will go like that. The next one will go just like this. I wonder if I need that bottom plate. What I'm looking at here is this piece bolts on there. It has to be slightly above. So there is centered. Yep, I'm centered. And centered, it's a bit too low, so I'm guessing it's the offset ones, and they go with the bump up. So let's take all the centered ones. Chuck them back in there. I should probably try and put this one together. I got the bump facing down. facing down. There. So I want the bump facing up. These brackets interfere. It's a bit interesting. Now if I look at the alignment, I put that on. Oh, I'm way too high. So out we come. Flip it over. Back in it goes. Now we really run into those. And now a bit too low. I'm also not square. Square that up. That looks pretty good. Okay. So it is the offset ones, and they go with the rod in the lowest position it can go. I think these get 8mm caps. Oh, must be longer. Maybe 10s? My 10s, did I? I have 14s. That seems a little excessive. I have M3s. And 4x5, which are really short, and 4x8s, which are not long enough. So I must have been just planning to steal from my stash. They might be 12s or 14s, surprisingly enough. So what I'm scoping out is how far they stick out, and 10s are too short, 8s are definitely too short, they don't even make it out of the part. 10s These are too short, so 12s will probably be just about right. 12 in steel, yeah, but not a whole lot. Down. Go. Goes down. So the next piece I got to figure out is how far off this rail to space them. I think I can use this cap to figure that out. So the hole, this hole in this cap needs to line up with this hole in this part here. So if I just take a big one, that through there, that through that part, slide this over slowly until that's basically vertical. Yeah, I think right about there. Now the question is, what's that distance? Do I have, it'd be really cool if it was a bracket distance. Lock that in. Let's line this up. Look down the hole. Okay, cool. So one of these brackets is about the ideal distance to space these away from the end rail. So that is how I'm going to line things up. how that's going to go together. Still got to figure out if I need the base plate or not. Other things that need to go on is this guy. Points. So this is the front adjuster. He's slightly taller. I might need to get longer bolts for that. Yep. So 8 button heads are too short. See if I got some 10s and 10 caps. Well, those are 6. 10, 12s, 12s, 12, 10, 10. Button heads. Don't have a lot of button heads in steel. Do I have them in stainless? This guy needs to line up in the center. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to sort of get things just slightly tight so it doesn't rattle around, and then I'll slide them back and forth and center them at a later date. Mainly getting the little T-nuts in before I get too far and can't put them in. These guys on just like that, and just like there. Oh. I have that part in the wrong spot. Yep, I totally do. These do not go on this side. These are the top side ones. So those go back in the box. And these two come out. A whole lot of nut and bolt action going on here. So which way do they face? Okay, he has them both facing to the left. So when this thing is sitting like this, openings towards the outside. Actually, I do not need to put these on right now because I can always slide these in after I assemble the frame. It's just the stuff on the inside of the frame I'm worried about at the moment. I want to make sure I get in. But I'll keep those out as I need to deal with them at some point. What else can I put on? that might be it for tonight. So the next set of pieces, I need one more of these mounts in order to put the rod on this side, get it all spaced. Once that rod's in, I can put this piece on, and then the frame is complete with the exception of the sheet that goes on the bottom, which, man, that's going to be really close. Once you get a sheet and these nuts on, it's going to be really close to dragging. I'm still wondering if once you put these two parallel rods on, if this will be stiff enough that you don't need to do that. Another option I have is, instead of a metal plate down here, which really doesn't do me anything, I can use plexi and probably get by with something thinner. Maybe. Or metal plate and countersink it so I can get flatheads on this side to flush it up real good. Make sure it goes on the bottom. He got boogered. Back clips, I get by with 8s. I can get by with 8s there, so that's probably what the plan was. Yeah, I know I said I wasn't going to put these on now, but looks like I'm putting these on now. So 8s fit on the back, and I need to add 9, 10, 11, 12. 12s or 14s. 14s might work. What is the thickness? So 8s plus 4, so 12. I think I have enough gap to use the 14s. That's the other nice part about waiting, is I can go check my spreadsheet and see what my original plan was. M3s, nope. M4 by 14s. This look a wee bit long. So the main question I have is, if I slide this into the track like so, and crank this guy all the way down, of course the nut's not going to cooperate. Definitely bigger nuts. Oh yeah, he doesn't even come close to touching the back of the rail. So I'm guessing 14s is what I planned. It's a real bummer on these T-nuts are the wrong size. M4 by 7 by 2. Yeah, there's 7 wide. I actually needed almost an 8. So an M4 by 10 square nut. would have been probably ideal. Wrong bag, right bag. Write that down. Too small. 10 millimeters square. So these must fit in like a 15 millimeter extrusion size. I think these go all the way to the corners. If not, it's pretty damn close. Are the upper pieces the same size? The uppers are indeed the same size. And the adjusting knobs, these guys? Yeah. So this is the adjusting knob. They'll stick off the sides of the unit just a little bit. So I think I want to raise them up just a tad. Again, I'll use a bracket. Yeah. I'm going to put them inboard a bracket thickness. So that way this side of this knob is not outside the sides of the frame. So when I go to put it on a shelf, I don't have these two little knobs sticking out the sides. That looks good to me. I'm going to swear a lot at these nuts at some point in this process. They're just big enough that I don't need to replace them, but they're small enough that they're really annoying to tighten. Ooh. I may have over-tightened that a bit. So there's that one. Give these a tighten just to keep the nuts from disappearing into a low Earth orbit when I'm least expecting it. Got that one done. There's the second one. Yep, just like that. And they both point in the same direction per the diagrams that the person that put it together. I probably would have had them both pointing out or them both pointing in, but not my design, so I'll go with what he did for now. Oh, the cracking sound of printed plastic. Okay. So we got two corners, top piece, 2 feet, 2 corners, only one bearing bracket, so I got to print one of those. Top caps for these. So this one goes here. I already got him sort of lined up. And then this one goes on the opposite corner so. Well, actually, more like so, because it's mirrored. And that's where the knob for the x-axis goes, where this is the knob for the y. And then these are this knob and these two knobs are the z. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately I don't think there's anything more I can do tonight. Gotta print this. Try and kick that off tonight. I'll update the bill of material for the 4 corner screws that I had to swap out. I'll double check what I was going to use here, and if that one's wrong, I'll fix that. What did I end up using there? Ended up with a 10. Okay, I'll do that. And then I need to decide. Well, I might decide on that after I get the other 4 in, or other 2. And then I can decide if the rods going sideways are enough to keep this square, or do I need to put the plate on the bottom to keep all these parallel and square, and then the rods just right on top. So for other rods, I have, where's the shorties? There's a shorty. Yeah, that looks about the right length. Cool. Again, this is more scaling and guessing from the pictures. So I fully expect that I may have one of these the wrong length, or one of these pairs, and the hope is I'm too long and then I can cut it down. Too short, and well, we'll be waiting longer as I order parts and wait for them to come in. Okay, I'm going to put this away. And go print parts. So I think I'm going to call it here. Yeah, call it here. Print part, do this, be done. So next time I should have another one of these, and then I can assemble this side, and then work my way up a layer. I think I'm going to leave the top frame for last, which is putting the rods in these guys, and the hinges and all that good stuff, and the upper frame. Instead I'll work on the mechanism in the center, get that done, and then I can build the top on top of it. Until next time. Maybe.